Good morning, everyone. My name is Bryson Oliver. Today I will be presenting case 7.1, the politics of performance and appraisal. So let's get to it. First, my agenda, my presentation will cover. We'll cover the case summary. We'll break down the first questions about objectives of performance and evaluation. We'll analyze the question about fine-tuning versus distortion, and then lastly, we'll respond to the question about the HR's role in addressing these issues, and then we'll finish it up with a recap. So to start, about the case summary, the case focuses on 4 managers from Eccles Industry. They discuss their performance appraisals, and each of them have different and shared frustrations within the process. So we're going to be talking about 4 different employees: Tom, Jim, Lynn, and Max, and how each one of them have different problems with the appraisal. So Jim pointed out, Tom. Tom felt appraisals were biased and overly subjective, which could lead to mistrust within the workplace. I think that's the biggest thing. We need to be trustworthy in our workplace. Jim pointed out that memory is a big problem. We only remember the small fractions of actual performance and not the whole overall performance. So I think with this, that some people will get stuck on this person did something bad months ago, but they ended up bounced back and they have shown so much growth and their overall performance was great, but we're going to grade them based on what we know and what we heard about that small fraction that they had. Third, we have Lynn. Lynn admitted that political considerations influence her rating, like maintaining relationships amongst employees and encouraging struggling employees. I could understand maybe encouraging struggling employees, maybe motivate them a little bit more, or tell them like, hey, I see you're struggling. I'm going to give you this score. This is why. I could understand that, but I think to doing it just to maintain relationships, just to be the most liked person at work, or to be to not have any conflict at work. Like, I understand that you don't want to have conflict at work, but with mistrust, it's going to lead to bigger things than just your likability at work. And then finally, we have Max. Max argued that accuracy is less important than using appraisals to motivate employees, even if that means inflating or deflating scores. Ultimately, Max has the worst take out of them all. Although I do agree with the motivation part, inflating or deflating scores can have us cross paths with distortion, and ultimately distortion is mistrust. And if we have mistrust between managers and employees, then we're going to have mistrust between customers and the organization. And if we don't have customer trust, our business is not going to fail, or not going to succeed. We're going to fail. But all in all, their conversation highlights a central tension that performance reviews should be strictly accurate, or they should be fine-tuned for practical outcomes. Ultimately, I think that we should be more focused on accuracy, but that's just me. So the next slide, it says the first question, objectives of performance evaluation. This is basically just the first question. So the first question asks us to evaluate the manager's perspectives based on what we believe the response of the objectives of performance appraisal should be. So in my opinion, performance evaluation should balance accuracy with development. So we're going to go through the 4 employees again. But like I said, accuracy with development. We want to see the development of the employee while also seeing that we're being accurate and giving them a good appraisal that is honest. So to start, Tom, I think Tom is right that bias and subjectivity are concerns. I think if we have bias amongst employees and amongst HR and employees, that this could lead to mistrust and people not trusting HR, and HR is supposed to be the most trust people in the company. They enforce all the rules, basically. So this is a concern. Jim, he talks about how memory limits reliability, and I also agree with this. Some people have bad memory, and some people have good memory, but still, some people use things that they've heard, or use problems, or maybe a good thing that they have heard, and they'll use that for their score, and they won't look at the person's overall growth or the person's overall development. And ultimately, I think this can lead to mistrust as well. If you're just grading somebody based on something they did years ago, and or a couple months ago this year, and at the end of the year they ended up kicking butt and they ended up doing their thing, then I think you should grade it on overall performance. And maybe you could talk about the one thing they did, but I don't think that it's fair to grade that. And then finally, I'm going to put Lynn and Max together because Both of them emphasize motivation, which is very important. We want to motivate our employees to do better and better and better for our company. But ultimately, their willingness to distort the evaluations, I think that risk the trustworthy amongst employees. So overall, I believe that accuracy should come first, but because of honest feedback, employees can grow at the same time. I don't think we should even get close to crossing that line with distortion. So slide 2, the second question that we have is fine-tuning versus distortion. So the second question asks, at what point does fine-tuning become unacceptable distortion? So we'll talk about what fine-tuning is. It's like a small adjustment with the intent to help an employee or a department. We want to stay away from that. Although it can be motivated at sometimes, we want to be more accurate with our appraisals. Distortion is a significant misrepresentation of performance. This is what we want to stay away from completely. When we want to be accurate, we want to cause growth within people, within departments, and distortion was not going to do that. This is when it's unacceptable. When ratings are inflated or deflated to manipulate outcomes. So an example I can think off the top of my head is when a rating is made for somebody to either get kicked out of the company to shrivel them on by, or when a rating is made for somebody to be in for a raise or something. The next slide we're going to talk about are HR roles. The third question asks, if you were the vice president of human resources and you discovered that fine-tuning was widespread amongst your company, what would you do? First, I think clarify the purpose of appraisals. I think you need to communicate with your team the importance of fairness and accuracy in these evaluations, that these do help the company in the long term, seeing how people grow over time or how people deflate over time. I think that this is very important for the company with having good employees within the company. Second, I think that we should implement training to help managers minimize the bias and constructive feedback, and have a good way to have good constructive criticism that can help people more than bring them down maybe. Third, sessions to align ratings across departments. I think this is important too. It goes along with the training. I think that we need to align our views with our company's views, and that's how we'll go about that. And then I think maybe we move away from the rating system itself, and we move to a more scale of system that emphasizes goals and developmental feedback. Maybe move away from 1 out of 10 stars or 0 out of 10 stars, and we rate them off that. I think that we do it more based on our goals that we have aligned for this company, and more for feedback for the employees to see their growth amongst the years. And then finally, I think you monitor the process more closely and ensure the accountability is being used and people aren't still going against the training and everything that you apply. So a recap and summary. Appraisal should be balanced. Should be based on balance. We need accuracy, motivation, and fairness. Accuracy and fairness being the two biggest things. I think having trust within the company, like I said multiple times earlier, that's the biggest thing, because if we don't have that within the company, then how are our customers going to feel about our trust? Motivation I can understand, but we need to be accurate, and we want growth in our company. Fine-tuning may help in the short term, but risk trust in the long term. Although it may be good for right now, we could ultimately, there's going to be people that are going to be weeded out due to not performing well. And I think this could help as well, if we have a good scale that we could use to see how these things are going. I think this ultimately in the long term will help us. And the third thing, distortion undermines employee growth and organizational integrity. I think that we want to keep this trust in our company, and we want to continue to grow as a company. These are my references, and I thank you for your time. Thank you so much.